Hey, hi, hello. Happy Monday to you all. I'm gonna stop fidgeting before I get too far into this video. I was feeling a little bit called to express some things today. I woke up thinking about the subject of judgment and forgiveness. However, specifically as this pertains to parenting. And I'm not a parent myself, so I can't really speak personally on some of these issues, but I have parents, so that's more the perspective that I'm going to be speaking from. So I've recognized in my life that, when I was growing up, it seemed fairly easy for me to judge my parents for the way that they were raising me, maybe the ways that they behaved sometimes, and would sometimes just be angry or blame them for things that they really just had no control over. And I recognized through my own healing journey and my own healing path just how important it is for me to learn to just let go of these judgments and just really be grateful for what these lessons taught me in my life, because I wouldn't be the person that I am today if everything didn't play out exactly as it has. And so while it's sometimes easy to just be angry at someone for something, whether they're your friend or your spouse or whoever, but then just to take that moment and sort of reflect, okay, what is it that I'm actually angry about or upset about? What is it that I'm judging them for, and how is this a reflection of my own behavior? And why am I actually grateful for this? So, as I was thinking, especially in terms of parenting, I have to confess that when I was growing up, I did sort of harbor some anger towards both of my parents for things like how they would express, say, their anger, for example, or would punish me if I had done something wrong. I created these stories in my head of oh, this shouldn't be the case. They shouldn't be that angry about something, or just sort of being angry at them for the ways that they were expressing their emotions, but then also not acknowledging the fact of how I was expressing my emotions. How do I respond when I'm angry? I know I've destroyed some of my brother's toys when I was younger because of the ways that I expressed my anger. And if I can learn to forgive myself for the ways that I've done that and recognize that, okay, well, who did I learn my anger from? Okay, it was probably my parents or my caretakers. And so I could say, oh, it's all their fault that, I've expressed anger in this way and that I'm feeling this way. But then it's okay, well, where did they learn that from? Okay, well, their parents and their caretakers and society. And okay, well, it's their fault. Well, it just kind of keeps going further back. And then I just get to this place and this realization that no one is really to blame for any of the situations as they played out, because I fully trust that everyone that raised me and everyone that took part in their own growth was really doing the best that they knew how and expressing their love in the best ways that they knew how and teaching me how to process my own emotions in the best way that they possibly could based on what they were taught by the people that they had in their lives. And on the one hand, I could be angry and say why couldn't I have parents who knew more about emotions or could help me process my own experiences or help me build a more secure attachment or something like that. But it's I can't change what is, but I can learn to be grateful for the experiences that I do have and the growth that I get to realize and help other people realize as a result of what I experienced growing up. when I was younger, I used to just get upset a lot about how many rules there were and how many, just like, I just felt like there were a lot of things that I couldn't do, and so much in terms of like structure, like things had to be cleaned a certain way, or things had to be done to like a certain standard, and sometimes I just felt like I couldn't measure up, like I just always felt like I was doing things wrong, or like just sometimes would have a hard time seeing the positive aspects of what I was bringing to a situation, because I felt like there were so many rules and all this structure and like all these things that I had to do, and it's like, oh gosh, I just feel like I can't measure up. Like, when is this all gonna end? And while there have been times in my life where I've experienced an amount of suffering because of that, I don't think that's a bad thing. And I've learned even more just how grateful I am for the growth that I have been going through. And it's honestly very rewarding to be able to reflect back onto my own behaviors and the things that I have been taught, and just sort of ask myself, like, okay, what is it that I'm really judging this person for? Like, if it's their anger, or the way that they like structure their lives, or the way that they want to just take some time for themselves, or maybe I feel like I'm being rejected or ignored. Like, what is it that I'm really upset about, and what is it that I'm judging them for? And how can I reflect back and really just ask myself if I've ever experienced that behavior towards myself? Like, have I ever treated myself that way, or have I ever treated another person that way? And can I learn to forgive myself in those moments? Because if I can do that, then for sure I can forgive other people who I believe have wronged me, or wronged someone else for that matter. Because when it comes down to it, it's really about me and my perspective. Because I think in life that's all we really, all we really do care about. Because even though we sometimes do things for other people, we're really just doing it for ourselves. I mean, I can tell myself that I'm like, that I want to make supper for my partner because I know that that's really going to make him happy. But when it comes down to it, I'm just projecting, because it's really me that I want to make happy by seeing how happy he is as he's like eating this meal that I've prepared. And so sometimes I feel like we can trick ourselves into believing that we're actually doing something for someone else, when really we're only doing it for ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with that either, because, I mean, really, I'm all that there is in this world. It's my perspective. And you're all that there is in your world. And everyone else is just a reflection of you. And so, as I was reflecting on judgment this morning and processing some of the emotions that I may have felt towards my parents, or other people in my life for that matter, but I just felt this overwhelming sense of gratitude. And this strong desire to want to completely forgive and accept other people for where they are, my parents especially, and just to recognize that they really have done the best that they possibly could, based on what they were given, based on what they had to go by. And I truly believe that your parents did the best that they could, whether they raised you or not. And when it really comes down to it, the sooner that I am able to let go of those judgments that I've made, accept the responsibility that I created the situation just as much as they did. Not in the sense that, like, Not in the sense of like when someone punishes you or something and it's like, oh, they were asking for it. It's like, it's more in the sense of, for my own spiritual growth, I needed to be challenged. I needed to be tested, and I needed to have certain situations arise throughout my lifetime so that I could overcome them. And so for me, letting go of judgments, letting go of resentment or anger, letting go of pain, welcoming in happiness, gratitude, forgiveness. These are all things that I've asked to experience in my lifetime, and I would love to be an example for anyone else that wants to experience that as well. Because it's definitely possible, definitely available to you. And so, as this message was sort of coming to me this morning, and as I was thinking to myself, just how grateful I am to have had a family that has supported me as much as they have, and who loves me as much as they do, and who I love as much as I do. Because it's a great feeling not only to receive that love, but also to be able to give it and know that it's accepted as well. And the more that I am able to let go of these judgments that I have for other people and their humanness, the more I'm able to love myself and love them as reflections of myself. Because I also know that I'm doing the best that I can with what I'm given. And it is a beautiful gift. I am grateful in this lifetime for the opportunity to overcome any emotional challenge, any physical challenge, mental challenge, and to be that example, to prove what's possible, to show that forgiveness is always available, regardless of what has actually happened. Because even if we forgive someone else, it doesn't mean we're condoning a certain behavior. It just means that we love ourselves enough to let go of that anger or sadness or whatever other thing we may have experienced. We don't forgive for the other person, we forgive for ourselves so that we can live a life that is filled with joy and happiness and prosperity and abundance and love. I love taking the opportunity to coach people around forgiveness. It's can be very humbling sometimes when we are shown the reflections of why we actually got triggered by something. But it's also such a freeing experience. And so if you're a person who is maybe feeling a little stuck in any relationships you might be having, or feel like there is anger or some kind of emotion that you've been holding on to that you just can't seem to let it go, then feel free to reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you, book a coaching call. I've experienced for myself an immense amount of, as I've said, freedom, lightness, happiness when I've allowed myself to have that perspective shift and to just let go of whatever stories I was telling myself before that were causing me that harm. And I would love to help other people have this experience as well. My name is Julia Warner, and I've been coaching for a few months now, but I've been a little hesitant in actually putting myself out in the world and asking for conversations or for people to reach out. But if anyone sees this and they're feeling particularly called or interested, I would love to have a conversation with you about your relationships, about yourself, about your dreams. And I would love to see you being your most authentic self as I lean into my own edge of being my most authentic self. Because I think it's the most beautiful when we are able to grow together. So please, reach out, send me a message if you'd love to book a conversation with me. I'd love to have the opportunity to talk with you and experience the you that you are capable of being. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. Thank you.